Have you ever solved an equation like this before and you came up with the correct answer, but your teacher said to you, "Where's your work?" And you might have replied, "Work? What do you mean? I did this problem in my head." Well, I'm Mrs. C, and this is Math Defined. Today's video will teach you how to show your work that will make your teacher proud. What I mean is, I will show you step by step how to solve one-step equations using addition and subtraction. Let's begin with this equation of x plus 4 equals 10. To solve an equation like this, it is helpful to remind yourself that solving equations requires you to keep each side of the equation in balance like a scale. The equal sign separates the left side from the right side of the equation. And even though they may not look identical to each other, both sides of the equation must have the same value for it to be a true equation. So for this equation, each side must have a value of 10. So what is this equation asking you to do? Well, there is a variable of x in this equation, and we know that variables are just placeholders for unknown values or numbers. So in order to simplify this equation, you need to solve for x, meaning you need to determine what number x is in order for this to be a true or balanced equation. So just by looking at it, you can probably already determine by using mental math that x must be equal to 6, because 6 plus 4 equals 10. And you would be correct. However, not all algebraic equations are easily solved using mental math. So it's a good idea for you to learn the correct way or process to use when solving any algebraic equation where using mental math just won't work for you. So the first step in this process is identifying the variable. And if you are new to this process, I encourage you to circle it. The reason you start by identifying the variable is because the end goal here is to isolate it or get the variable all by itself on one side of the equal sign. But right now, there is a positive 4 being added to the x. So you will need to manipulate this equation so that the positive 4 is no longer being added to that variable of x. So how do you do that? Well, first you're going to undo the operation of addition, being careful to keep the equation balanced. So let's start by undoing the addition of 4 by subtracting 4. Now to keep the equation balanced, you need to do the exact same thing to the other side. Now we just need to complete the math calculations. So positive 4 and negative 4 create a zero pair. Remember, any number paired with its opposite is a zero pair. And since their value is 0, they basically cancel each other out, and you are left with x. Then you look at the right side of the equation and complete the calculation of 10 minus 4, which is 6. So x equals 6. There is also a way to check your answer. You do this by substituting the x for the value of 6 in the original equation. You check the answer by simplifying both sides of the equation. So 6 plus 4 simplifies to 10, and 10 equals 10, so your answer of 6 is correct. If you're liking this video content so far, please don't forget to give it the thumbs up and subscribe today. This time, the variable of y is on the right side of the equal sign. Does it matter which side of the equal sign the variable is on? The answer to that question is no. Variables can be on either side or even on both sides of the equal sign. The first step then is to identify the variable. This time the variable is the letter y. But remember, variables can be any letter of the alphabet. But x and y are used more often because of the coordinate grid that has an x-axis and a y-axis. Next, you need to undo the addition of 11 because right now positive 11 is being added to that variable of y. To undo the addition, you need to use subtraction. So you will subtract 11. And to keep the equation balanced, you will need to subtract 11 on the left side of the equal sign as well. Now you're ready to complete the math calculations. Let's start on the right side of the equal sign just because the variable is on this side. But in the end, it doesn't really matter which side you start with. So on the right side, you have the zero pair of positive 11 and negative 11, which gives you a value of 0, leaving you with just the variable y. And on the left side of the equal sign, you have a positive 15 minus 11, which gives you positive 4, so y is equal to 4. Let's go ahead and check our answer. Remember that you will substitute or replace the variable of y with the value of 4 in the original equation. Then you need to simplify the right side of the equation. So 4 plus 11 is 15, and 15 is equal to 15. Instead of adding a number to the variable, this time you have a number being subtracted from the variable. Do you follow the same process for this type of problem? The answer is yes, but this time, instead of undoing addition, you will need to undo subtraction. Let's start by identifying the variable. Now you see that 7 is being subtracted from y, so you will need to undo this subtraction by adding 7. And to keep the equation balanced, you must also add 7 to the right side of the equation or equal sign. Now you are ready to complete the math calculations. On the left side of the equation, you have negative 7 paired with positive 7, which is a 0 pair. So their value is 0, and those two 7s are canceled out, leaving you with just the variable of y. Now on the right side of the equation, you have 20 plus 7, which is 27. So y is equal to 27. You can do a quick check again by substituting the value of 27 in place of the y in the original equation. Then simplify the left side of the equation by subtracting 7 from 27, which equals 20, and 20 equals 20. Now, in just a few minutes, I will show you how to solve an equation with a negative variable, because so far, all of the variables that we have used have been positive. Let's do one more example using a positive variable. First, identify the variable of x. Then, since 10 is being subtracted from x, you need to undo the subtraction by adding 10. Then you will need to keep the equation balanced by adding 10 to the left side of the equation. Next, you are ready to complete the math calculations. I'm going to start on the right side of the equation with the variable. Negative 10 and positive 10 create a 0 pair, so they cancel each other out, leaving you with just x. Looking at the left side of the equation, you need to add 18 plus 10 to get 28. So x equals 28. This time, the variable x is being subtracted from the number 9. We need to treat this type of equation just a little bit different than the previous equations because this time the variable has a negative value. So instead of undoing the subtraction with a number, you need to undo the subtraction with the variable. So you will need to add x to the left side of the equation first, and then to keep the equation balanced, you need to add x to the right side of the equation. Then, just like before, you will complete the math calculations next. Starting on the left side of the equation, you have a negative x and a positive x, and this creates a 0 pair, just like it would for a pair of negative and positive numbers. So the x's cancel each other out on the left side, leaving you with the number 9. On the right side of the equation, you will add 2 to x, giving you 2 plus x. So now you have the equation 9 equals 2 plus x. And now this looks like all the other equations you did in this video. So you first identify the variable, then since there is a positive 2 in the first term of this expression, you will need to undo the positive 2 by subtracting 2. Of course, you will still need to keep the equation balanced, so you will need to subtract 2 on the left side of the equation as well. Now you are ready to complete the math calculations again. Starting on the right side with the variable, 2 minus 2 is 0, so you are left with just x. And on the left side of the equation, you have 9 minus 2, which is 7. And now you know that for this equation to be true, x must be equal to 7. Knowing the process to solve equations is so important that I want to take a moment to highlight the important steps. First, you need to identify the variable. Then you will need to undo either the addition or the subtraction, being very careful to keep the equation balanced, meaning that whatever you do to one side of the equation, you do the exact same thing to the other side. The last step in solving one-step equations is to complete the math calculations. And you can always check your answer by substituting the value of the variable into the original equation. I hope this video helped you understand the process for solving one-step equations using addition or subtraction. You can check out more of my math videos at Math Defined. And until next time, thank you so much for watching.